names as well, and we're going to actually roll up our sleeves and get to the crux of the issue, which I'm going to try to do right now with Jason Bohrer, who is the president of the North Dakota Lignite Council. A new poll they have put out suggests maybe we are hearing from a loud minority of the critics of carbon capture, because new polls suggest that there is overwhelming public support for it. And we know that because of what the North Dakota Lignite Council has done here. Jason, welcome back to the program. How are you? You bet. Glad to have you as always. Overwhelming public support, one of the key findings from the poll. 69% of respondents expressing unwavering support for implementing carbon capture technology. This recognition of the importance of carbon capture demonstrates the public's commitment to finding innovative solutions that simultaneously address environmental concerns and protect the coal industry, is the narrative from the poll. Did this surprise you, that overwhelming amount of support?
It actually did not, because we actually started polling on this 5 years ago. So we recognize that in order to have a coal industry that lasts generations into the future, we're going to need to work in a carbon-constrained world. That's going to require us to do carbon capture and carbon transport. So we started trying to understand not just the technological challenges, and that's what, we talk so much about, the technological challenges, the research and development that we've put into this over the past decades, but we also needed to understand the human element. What are people thinking? What is the state of people's approach to carbon capture, to pipelines, to all that stuff? So we started polling on this, like I said, 5 years ago, and the support has remained relatively strong. People want the coal industry to succeed, and they support carbon capture as a way to do it.
Can the coal industry in North Dakota survive without the innovation behind carbon capture technology?
Long-term, no. Long-term, carbon capture is a requirement for the industry. And I think that is a message that we've tried to articulate loud and clear, which is we have this amazing infrastructure in place right now, and it's doing such a great job of providing dispatchable, reliable, affordable energy. But the next round of investment, the next new power plant that's built in North Dakota, is going to have to be near zero emission. That's the only way to do it in the world today. That's the only way to get financing. That's the only way to get regulatory approval. And I think the public is expecting a continued decrease in environmental footprint. And all of those things are what are our priorities in the research and development realm.
There is a significant portion of the opposition to this, which, based on your poll, is, again, I think there's two metrics. One, the Summit Carbon Solutions pipeline, which would bring CO2 for sequestration as well as enhanced oil recovery, has 80% support among landowners, pretty strong support. And your poll showing 69% of those surveyed expressing support for implementing carbon capture technology, that we're dealing with a minority of folks that oppose this. But that minority has received most of the attention from the media and has obviously, in my mind, spooked the Public Service Commission to the point where they turned down the initial application and now are revisiting that based on some new information from the company. But a large part of that opposition comes from the camp that believes if we engage in anything related to carbon management, we have succumbed to the radical Biden, green agenda. What do you say to those people that don't like this because they see us waving the white flag?
I just would ask them to zoom out a little bit, and instead of looking at the 6-month time frame or whatever, take a look at the 10, 15-year time frame. Right now, there is not a market for CO2 coming from power plants or coming from these pipelines going into the oil field. But if we want to monetize the billions of dollars of oil that remains in the Bakken after primary extraction, we're going to need CO2 to do it. And right now we got people lining up who want to build the infrastructure to make it happen. We have a combination of private capital and government capital who are saying, let us give you billions of dollars to build pipelines that you can then use in North Dakota to enrich your population for the next 50 years. And the motivation of those people right now to act is irrelevant for North Dakota over the next 50 or 60 years when we know what we're going to be using it for, which is enhanced oil recovery, continued production of our most profitable product, as well as the sustainability of our fifth largest industry, which is the coal industry, as well as opening new markets to the ag industry, right? So these are the top industries in North Dakota. All of them are going to be benefited by these pipelines, by this infrastructure. And despite the fact that this administration is pushing this for one particular reason that motivates them, there are multiple motivations behind these projects. Let's not focus on one motivation to the exclusion of the others. Let's look at the big picture, which is decades of additional wealth creation in North Dakota in multiple industries from these technologies.
Yeah, well said. I mean, you all, coal, oil, gas, agriculture, share the same enemies. I mean, you're all on one team fighting against what they want to do to, as you say, take an industry down long term. I mean, right? I mean, these are we know who's on what team here. And
opponents of present-day fossil fuel industries, they're always going to be there. So let's do what we can to make our industry stronger and more resilient to the attacks that come from outside that core group of environmentalists. Let's appeal to those folks who are going to be funding these projects to be able to say, hey, we're reducing our carbon footprint through carbon capture sequestration. Let's be able to do that. Let's not make too big of a deal over the motivations of some of these environmental factions within the administration who are trying to shut down this and who are pretending that this is all about going woke or whatever the phrase is. It's a long-term investment in the future.
Really, really well said. And congrats on this poll. I mean, 72% of the North Dakotans voicing their belief in the strong backing of the coal industry. Got overwhelming support for carbon capture technologies. Pretty amazing. Good numbers. Jason, thanks. Always good to catch up. Talk to you soon.
Thank you.